No, the solar atmosphere. Okay, so we talked about absorption lines back in chapter 3, and they can indicate presence of certain elements, and so this is the solar one. Alright, all that translates into basically the same stuff that the Jovian planets are made out of. Hydrogen, helium. Now you'll notice there's a little bit less hydrogen and a little bit more helium than the original estimate of when it started. Again, not really that much of a difference. Could just be an error in calculations. But you can see that there's also other stuff in the sun. Oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, magnesium, iron, sulfur, a whole bunch of other stuff. But really, really, really small amounts. Alright, so next sphere. It's actually considered two different things, the chromosphere and the corona. Alright, so first comes the chromosphere. This is basically a little layer of red, or reddish. And they get little spinnacles or jets that kind of fly up. They last about 5 to 15 minutes. The red is why it's called the chromosphere. It's named after the color. Very low density, doesn't emit much light. The only time you can see this is kind of in the picture there. If you have a solar eclipse, then you might be able to see the little red tinge. Next is the corona. Still part of the atmosphere, but the next layer up from the atmosphere. This actually comes from the Greek word crown, and if you look at the top picture there, you can see if you block out the sun, you can see parts of the corona. The corona actually does change. It's not always going to be like that. Sometimes it'll have more jets or points coming off of it. Sometimes it will have less. Only visible if you can block out the sun, so solar eclipse, something like that. This is actually the source of all the solar winds. So the solar winds fly off the corona, interact with our EM field, and then in our EM field they get sent to the poles and we get the northern and southern lights. So this is where they're coming from. So like I said before, the corona can change over time, and there's one that you'll notice that's a sunspot minimum, and there's pretty much no corona there, and then the corona looks pretty good, that's a sunspot maximum.